Welcome to day 3 of building a fit club location from scratch in less than 10 days and under $10,000. If you're ready to turn your passion for health and fitness into a thriving business, join me on this exciting journey. Carefully choosing a location is critical to your success, and in this video I'm going to share with you the top tips and tricks when choosing a right location to ensure your gym is a booming success, and also what are the mistakes that you need to avoid at all costs if you want to create a successful health and wellness business that stands out from the crowd. So make sure you stick around until the end of the video. Hey Impactors, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Simeon and I'm on a mission to build an international multi-million-dollar health and wellness business. And on this channel, we explore the tools, strategies, tips, and tricks that help us live our best lives. Subscribe if you haven't, and let's jump in. I'm sure you've heard the saying location is king, but there are so many nuances to that, and as a beginner, it's super easy to fall into the trap of not knowing what to look for when it comes to finding the right location for your particular business model. Today, we'll discuss what makes a location good or bad for your model, what are the things to keep in mind when choosing, how to get one, and how to get a feel for the area, even if you've never been around, and what to do before signing the contract. We'll discuss also the 3 common pitfalls that many beginner health and wellness entrepreneurs make when opening up their first location. We'll also reveal the brand new location we chose and show you practical examples of lessons in this video applied. Now, what are some of the common pitfalls when choosing a location and some of the early mistakes I did on my 2 locations that failed miserably? First and foremost, not researching the local market and area roughly enough to understand the demand for their specific health and wellness services, availability, and disposable income within the area. If you want to target busy professionals, make sure you pick a location that's surrounded by offices and people coming in and out daily, and congregation of numerous businesses to allow for enough foot traffic to grow, and vice versa. If you're looking to target busy moms, make sure you pick a location where a lot of new families move in. This brings me to our second point, and a massive mistake I did early on when choosing a beautiful location that was perfect for our needs. It was ready to move in with great equipment, low rent, but there was no parking. And that was in the city center. It was hard to get in and out even with public transportation, and this was a huge disaster as it proved for us as we couldn't get the retention of customers because of the convenience. We also thought we would bring in a lot more people just because the area had high foot traffic, but that proved wrong as the people weren't in our target demographic. Paired with the 1-year-long renovation of the main street leading to our location right next to us, this was a recipe for disaster, a few mistakes that I had to learn. So always be aware of things outside of your control. New permits, construction in the area, buildings blocking access. Choosing a location solely based on price is also not ideal, as you might have the perfect location price-wise, but if it's an underdeveloped area or an area that's up and coming, you might struggle as we did with our second location. Choosing a remote location in a new neighborhood, which according to our real estate agent was sold out, residential area, proved to be nothing but empty investment properties with a couple of families living there and a dirt road leading up to it. Now looking in retrospect, this is the dumbest thing we've ever done, but man, when you're passionate about the thing that you want to do and you want to get your business going, as a rookie, it's very easy to neglect a lot of those things. In the beginning, I thought that I had to be the first one in the area as a small business owner to make it work, but the chances are if you're a first-time owner, it's much easier to come into an already developed market with other businesses offering similar services to yours successfully, and your job would be much easier. Just do better than them. Better service, faster, more efficient, and voila, you're in business. Don't worry, we'll teach you how to do that later in the series, but if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do that. Being first comes at risks that I suggest you don't take unless you're an established health and wellness entrepreneur with several locations under your belt. What's important when choosing the right location is knowing your concept and how you want to lead into the market. For example, we rely heavily on bodyweight workouts that are 1 hour long, and we integrate the concept of nutrition and overall health. So the location we're looking for needs to have an open space for the group classes, as well as a healthy bar area with plumbing already done if possible. This leads to the second question: how many people do you plan on serving? And no, as many as possible is not the right answer. I will start backwards. How many people will run the business? Will you start by yourself? Do you have a partner? Do you have experience hiring and firing people? Do you want to scale quickly and have experience to do so? If you're brand spanking new, my suggestion is to get a small location that you can manage all by yourself and grow into a bigger space. For example, we're looking for a very modest and small space of 2,000 square feet location, which is a small space, but we'll work with semi-private PT classes and one-on-one nutrition consultations to sell our hybrid programs, as well as a couple of group classes for community building. The expansion will come from doubling down on the group class and expanding the hours, as well as working the nutrition bar as a revenue source for the business. Smaller and more packed location is easier to manage, easier to duplicate, because with the big location comes the layers of management, hiring and firing, tight operating procedures, and business understanding that are often missing within a brand new business owner. The next thing once you define your model is to choose industrial or residential. Industrial will be often cheaper, bigger, and you can have the freedom in terms of noise and music and not worrying too much about the surroundings at the expense of low foot traffic and heavily relying on promoting and marketing your location, which could mean having a focus on pre-launch for your location or already having an established audience that you just transfer to the location. The residential building comes at the expense of a high rent, usually a much smaller space, restrictions when it comes to music, heavy weights, and noise after certain hours, but brings usually a much more dense population and allows for high volume concept models to work great, especially if you want to create more of a lounge vibe and offer additional services to training. Another thing to keep in mind is that if you cater to busy professionals, the likelihood of them training in a beat-up gym in an industrial area is low compared to a cooler vibe, more central location with easy access to transportation. Just keep that in mind when you choose the concept and the model. When moving into a location, try to negotiate the terms of the deal, as that might break you from the get-go. Some tips here. Try to negotiate the time between signing in the lease to moving in with no payment, so you have time to renovate your location. Try to get some of the build-out costs covered by the landlord if possible. Never accept the first offer, and depending on the demand on the location and how long it's been on the market, negotiate it down. Usually the longer the lease, the cheaper the price, but if you have a clause that you have a 2-month notice period to break the lease, that shouldn't matter as much. Try not to get locked into a longer-term contract with extra fees to be paid, so carefully review and read through every single line on the terms of paper. Have your lawyer look through it, or a friend that has a law degree, or you can even ask AI to give you suggestions on what to look for in a contract. The more amenities you can get for less money upfront, the better. Now, next we gotta do here, guys, is check our actual location and what is the foot traffic like in the morning, midday, and in the evening, so we can get a sense of what's happening in the area. If you're not pressed for time, I would also do weekends versus weekdays so I can get a feel for how many people are working in the area and how many families are living. The next thing on my list is to go to local businesses in the area I'm looking into renting in and ask them about how long they've been in business, what do they think about the people in the area, introduce myself, share a bit about what I'll do, and get as much information as I can about what's happening in the area. I would pull up Google Maps and look for the local businesses within 2 miles radius of where I'm going to be located and do a tour and see if they want to become impactors too, right? I would tour around the neighborhood to see if there's new construction going on and also if there's other complementary health and wellness businesses I can partner with. Beauty studios, hairdressers, massage therapists, nutrition shops, spa centers, lashes, chiropractors, other gyms that serve different segments of the market. The more I can get a hold of, the better, as these will be potential referral partners in the future, but we'll talk about that in the next video. And given the fact that I'm looking for a residential location, I look for public transport, parking in the area, and density of the demographic I'm looking to serve to justify the rent premium. Now let's look at the location we've been scouting. Do a little tour of the location and explain why we chose this particular place. All right, so let's look at the location together. As you can see, it's in a residential area. There's a lot of construction. There's a lot of buildings around us. And this is the entrance. As you walk in, there is a bar area opening up to you. It's a very small area. And the drawback here is that the ceiling is a little bit low. They've used gray paint, which we could change. The great thing about this is that they already have the plumbing done. They have the bar setup that we were looking for initially. It's a bit of a mess and a little bit old school, but the tiling looks great. So this is something easy. As you can see here, I'm checking for outlets. The only issue I found is that they have 0 outlets, and we would need that. If we want to have a bar setup, we need ice maker and fridge and all of that. So we for sure need electricity and power outlets built out. It's a little bit dark, but I finally found the outlets. So this is the bar setup, not too great, but could be remodeled. And then as we walk in, the great thing is that it's under the ground. So for residential area, that's perfect because we can play music loud and leverage that as a benefit, not a drawback. This is the women's locker room. They used to have showers. So these are the showers. I don't know if we're going to use those, as they're usually a big expense for gym business, and they don't add a lot of value unless you have one-on-ones and specific hours for the classes that are midday or morning. But we usually do evening, so for us that doesn't matter so much. Um, the construction looks good. The place looks already set up in the way we need it. This is the men's locker room. As you can see, it has 2 showers also. It's a little bit old school, but for the locker rooms, we don't care so much. We can paint and remodel a little bit and it would look great. Then this is the lounge area we're going to use to have tables, chairs, and a bar setup. It has plenty of outlets, so if you want to do like a co-working type of space where the coaches can do wellness evaluations and presentations, it would be great. Now this is the workout area, and as I told you, we heavily rely on group classes, so we were looking for something with high ceiling and potentially enough space to fit in 20 people. Now this location is a bit on the smaller side, so it's about 60 square meters of a workout space, but it would comfortably fit 20 people. The paint is not very eye pleasing, but we can change that for sure. And given that it's space under the ground, we for sure will change the color. It has some mirrors, it has an AC, which is a big plus given the fact that during the winter it gets cold here in the area. The flooring is even, so we can totally do our own. We can do our own tiling. This was some sort of a storage area. I don't know what they had in there. And yeah, I'm just doing a tour of the space. And it also had 2 toilets that you don't really see in this video, but this is the location we're looking into. The rent is pretty good. The location is very central. It's right next to one of the most famous hotels in the area. It's a premium area with high foot traffic, and we can command premium prices in it. It's a tight location that already has the build out as we want it. We just need to do some cosmetic work on it. But now in the next few days, we'll be negotiating the price and working the terms of the deal. So let's say, crossing fingers, that this is our location, and we'll show you the whole build out, what we do, how we do it, and why we do it, so you can do something similar for your location. And in the next video, we'll be discussing the build out and renovation of our place and how to ensure it serves our business needs without breaking the bank, as we only have $10,000 to work with. Comment down below what's your favorite tip from this video so far, and what does your dream location look like?